Books of the Decade by the American Library Association. So please help me welcome Ms. Penny McKee to the stage.
Good evening. On behalf of Mr. Blank and all of our foundation directors, one of whom is here, Josh Kimball, I want to thank all of you for joining us in the Pipeline Project, and a special thank to Tech Square Labs for hosting our event tonight. Isn't it fabulous? Yes, it is. When our board launched the Pipeline Project, we set one of those big, long-term goals that foundations like to do. In our case, our board said it wanted to see more Georgia students graduate with post-secondary certification or degrees in STEAM programs. At the same time, our board recognized that our current systems, both in school and out of school, weren't serving our students well. So in pursuit of that big long-term goal, we asked Ayanna Gabriel, Ayanna, raise your hand, to develop grants that will disrupt the status quo for underserved students from pre-K through 12. Going a step further, our board said it's not enough to supply more programs. We need to increase not only the supply of STEAM programs, but the demand for them. We need to build the demand among underserved youth and their families for this kind of program and education. So the 21 Pipeline grantees we are celebrating tonight are doing just that. And we're so excited to see the nonprofit partners here alongside their students and families. Thank you all for being here. To show you the power of the Pipeline Project, I want to share a story about Douglas High School student Rakita, who participated in the Reimagine ATL program. Reimagine ATL uses film, photography, and music and the power of storytelling to unlock the passion of STEAM careers among students who would otherwise be missing out. Becoming part of Reimagine ATL gave Rakita just the creative outlet she needed to find her place and to overcome the struggles that so many teenagers face. Energized by STEAM, Rakita is now a photographer and a filmmaker and is producing a documentary with Reimagine ATL about the Douglas High School community. She recently presented to Facebook with a group of students from Atlanta. So please join me in congratulating Rakita, her family, and Susanna Specia for the work they've done together. And what we all know is that there are thousands of Rakitas in Georgia. We just need to give them the opportunity. Rakita's story is a reminder that by the year 2020, economists forecast 22,000 new STEM jobs in Georgia, with nearly all of them requiring at least a bachelor's degree. Yet Georgia currently ranks in the bottom quartile of STEM graduates. Alone, there's not much any one of us can do about that. But when we come together using the power of the Pipeline Project and our network created by the Pipeline Project, we can pull more young people like Rakita into pathways that open up all kinds of opportunity. The Pipeline Project is about producing tomorrow's talent today. We're honored and humbled to work alongside all of you, and we can't wait to see your next moves. Now, I'm pleased to pass the microphone to Rodney Sampson, Partner, Diversity and Inclusion of Tech Square Labs, who will share more about what his organization is doing to ensure diversity in the pipeline network. In the pipeline. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. How's everyone doing? All right, where's my timer to keep me brief with brevity? Very good. I wanted to be intentional about what I say this evening, and so I put it on a Post-it note. You know, there are billion-dollar ideas that have been birthed on a Post-it note. So first of all, let me welcome you to Tech Square Labs. On behalf of our co-founders, Dr. Paul Judge, who, by the way, is from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, whose mother put a typewriter in his hand as a lad, and somehow that inspired him, his interest in STEAM. And of course, Paul went on to become an undergraduate at Morehouse College here in Atlanta, Georgia. And then from there, he pivoted to Georgia Tech, where he got his master's and his PhD degree in computer science in the least amount of time of anyone that's ever graduated with a PhD from computer science. Paul is the archetype of who we're trying to reach. And Paul has gone on to found companies that have been acquired for $300 million and have gone public with companies such as Barracuda. He's created Luma, which has raised over $22 million, and Pindrop that's raised over $130 million in capital. Just to give you context, that we believe that through initiatives like the Pipeline Project, we can create more Paul Judges. And of course, on behalf of our other co-founder, Alan Nance, who attended West Georgia College, whose father was a warden and worked in the criminal justice system, but was able to provide a platform for his son to attend West Georgia. He went on to get his master's and has become the quintessential marketing technology investor and entrepreneur in Atlanta. We welcome you to Tech Square Labs on behalf of the entire team, Tanya, Brock, Daniel, Jonathan, Martin, of course my wife Shantiria as well, where our thesis is very simple: build something from nothing. And that, I believe, resonates with the vision of Arthur Blank and of course the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation. At Tech Square Labs, really quickly, we do a few things and a few things well. We are a technology incubator where we work with companies to take them from idea to minimum viable product or prototype to scale. We're also a venture fund where we invest in those companies as well. We put our money where our mouth is. And also we work with corporations to help them to be more innovative and to look towards the future to maintain their market share and grow. And of course, I'm very excited about our diversity and inclusion initiatives, which includes our Code Start initiative, which of course we'll launch with the City of Atlanta's Workforce Development Agency. And with that team work to make Atlanta a tech hire city, which has helped to attract over $7.6 million to the Atlanta community to train more software developers. That money came from the Department of Labor. And also our recent announcement of our $100 million Technology Opportunity Fund that was announced by Megan Smith from the White House and Vice President Joe Biden to help women and minorities learn to code and get coding jobs across the nation. So we're excited about the work we're doing around inclusion. Today, just to give you a little bit about our background and what has become of the work of Tech Square Labs over the last 4 years, we've created more than 500 new technology jobs. And our companies have gone on to raise over $250 million in venture capital. And we're excited to be able to say that we did that right here in the city of Atlanta. So very quickly, I've been asked to kind of set the context for this evening of why STEAM? Why science, technology, engineering, arts, and math? My question is, why not? Well, let's look at some of the data, right? So if we look at the wealth gap in America, The average net worth of a white American family is $140,000+ on average. Not income, but net worth, assets minus liabilities. Asian Americans, because of their adaptation of technology and innovative careers, is over 100,000. Latino Americans, and this is where we kind of drop off the cliff, $13,000. African Americans, $11,000. It is actually less today for African Americans than the 10 years during the Reconstruction period after the emancipation of the Southern slaves. So that gives you some context in terms. Yet, Department of Labor data says that there's 1.3 million high-growth, good-paying technology jobs. Penny talked about the jobs here in the state of Georgia. But there are also 9.8 million cybersecurity jobs as well. So, wait, we can actually close the wealth gap by ensuring that Black, brown, and underrepresented communities get access to STEAM opportunities and STEAM careers and the skills required for these new jobs of the future. But yet it's a little bleak when we look at the state of our technology in Georgia. Last year, only 174 African Americans and less Latinos took the AP Computer Science exam. Only 55 passed that exam. Nationwide, 1,300 took the exam and 484 passed the exam. So we're talking about a pipeline, like what pipeline? Literally. Less than 4% are pursuing bachelor's degrees in computer science or engineering. Less than 2% master's, less than 1% PhD. So Paul and Ayana are the anomalies, right? Less than 1% of faculty representation. Therefore, less than 2% in the workforce. So you ask, why STEAM? Why this investment in the pipeline project? Because we've got to build literally a nation of interest in the blank foundations, investment in STEAM. So this evening, you're about to hear from some amazing grantees that are actually, they may not show up on the radar screen, they may not get the press, they may not be resonating on social media, but they were doing something that allowed them to take the interest of the Blank Family Foundation. And we're here to celebrate each and every one of those grantees this evening, because it's that grassroots, right at that level. I call it from birth to exit, where we have to impress upon our young people to have interest in STEAM careers. With that, and as I close, I'd like to invite to the stage, because we were fortunate enough to be a grantee in this cohort of applicants this year. And we're going to be working on a STEAM application, a mobile app, a web service. We really don't even know what we're going to create yet, because we're having the community tell us what we should create. And this is the process that we take our startups through. The ideation stage, the hackathon stage, the problem-solving stage. So this past weekend, we held a STEAM Desert Hackathon. And we partnered with Georgia State University. And over a 72-hour period, we had over 75 students in this space, and they stayed overnight, literally working on the problem, on use cases for what would someone download? What would get someone to participate in a project to tell us that they're taking their child to a robotics class, or a arts, or a Lego STEAM event, or what have you? And out of that, we had a winner, and we promised the winner that we would acknowledge them at this reception this evening. So I'd like to have the winners of the hackathon to join me on stage real quickly. Come on up. And since I know I'm already over time, if you would just take 30 to 45 seconds to tell us your experience at the hackathon. And here's the kicker, they got some extra points because I'm a proud alumna of Frederick Douglass High School. And the first slide that they showed was Frederick Douglass High School. So good. Aaron, appreciate it. Absolutely. Congratulations.
Alrighty guys, this is gonna be quick. We are actually Georgia State students, so we're not a part of the Georgia Tech institution, but that didn't hold us back. And for me, it was my first hackathon. I don't know about you guys, I'm pretty sure it was just about all of our first hackathon. And we wanted to really approach this problem with something new. And that was to really target teachers because we believe that teachers have the greatest influence on their students. So we want to really target those teachers to really implement systems where those teachers have access to facilitate information to their students, to encourage the students to pursue STEAM related fields, and also to provide them information and the resources, and also create a network. So that's the platform we built. I'd love to tell you more about it. I just don't want to overkill the time we've already killed. So I really appreciate you guys having us out here. We're really excited to move forward with this, and I hope that one day, when we're all looking back on this, we share a smile on the changes we've made. Thanks again, guys.
James is a Marine, and he's back. If you can get a Marine working on your project, introduce yourself, and then we'll let you introduce yourself. Good, we'll be done.
Hi, my name is Jay Strickland. Like Rodney said, I just recently separated, and this is a high priority for me. There's many times when I've donated Arduinos or electronics components to friends and family because I can see the gap, I can see where we're headed. I'm personally interested in renewable energy and industrial automation. That's why I work in every day, and I see every day a huge gap where there's somebody who didn't have the opportunity, like I didn't have the opportunity when I was growing up, to move forward, to get something out of it. So I hope in the future we can all look back and see that we made an impact.
This is our rock star. First of all, he's going to tell you where he's from. He's going to tell you what year he's in college. And I just want you to tell our audience here how many programming languages you code in today. I want you to run them down.
Okay, so I'm Ned Anderson. I'm a computer science major at Georgia State, a sophomore. I went to high school in San Diego and I came to Atlanta for college. And the different programming languages I know C#, C++, Python, JavaScript, Java, PHP, and I think...
So there's more?
Well, yeah, HTML and CSS.
Thank you so much. I know my ABCs, I know my numbers. All right, thank you. All right, welcome.
I'm jealous. I wish I knew that much CS. I don't. I have computer science next semester, so I'm going to connect with you later. Next we have Kwame Johnson, who is the Executive Director at Power My Learning Atlanta. Kwame was awarded the Social Entrepreneur Program of the Year Award from the Manhattan Institute for Policy Research when he was 25. And he received the 40 under 40 Most Influential People in DC Award from the Invest Foundation. So please help me welcome Mr. Kwame Johnson.
Thank you. I forgot all about all those different things I did when I was a young man. But welcome everybody. Thank you for having us. Thank you to Dr. Blank Foundation for your support. Diana, thank you for your time, your flexibility, your due diligence, which was pretty tough. Felt like we were going through an audit. You know, Diana came to our office. She came to see our work in schools. She even came to my house. I said, what's going on with this? I'm just joking, but you know, we appreciate it. You know, other funders should look to you all for examples. Because we appreciate you taking the time to look underneath the hood, to kick the tires, to make sure it's real. Because all of us in this room, we go after funding, and there's limited resources, so we want to make sure those funding opportunities go to organizations that are actually doing the good work. So here at Power More Learning, we're all about using digital learning to increase student achievement. And with funding through the Pipeline Project, we're actually able to serve Brown Middle School and Long Middle School to serve over 250 families at those schools and providing them with basic things as computers. We talk about STEAM and all these things that we want to happen, but most of our families don't even have computers or internet in the home. So at a baseline level, we want to make sure that happens. We want to really empower our families. Students in that school also took part in our STEM App Challenge, where we actually help kids build mobile apps. And at the end of that program, we took them to some of our corporate partners. So students got to go to MailChimp and meet some designers, some marketing folks, to see people who look like them and hopefully envision themselves being in those roles later in life, to see what they're doing in the classroom now applies later on. We also took some of our students to SAP. So we're all about giving our students hands-on exposure. But what we're really known for is our family engagement work. And for the parents in the room, I don't know by a show of hands how many parents are in the room, but I know there's been times, hands up to the parents. I know there's been times when you all struggle with helping your children with homework. And we want to make sure that is not a problem. And I have Carmen here, who actually, in 2015, Carmen and Marcus, her son Marcus, were our Family of the Year recipient. Every year we honor our teachers, our students, and our families for the work that they've done. And Carmen got up on the stage and just blew it out. Everyone still remembers her speech from that night. And Carmen shared, which really stood out to me, is that we were able to help her child. And that really hit home for me. And I remember Marcus talking about how he was struggling in 6th grade math. A lot of kids struggle in 6th grade math. And now he's in honors math. And he said, when he hit a hurdle, some of our resources were able to help him get over that hurdle. So we're all about the work. When Carmen got off the stage, she came up and talked to me and said, she wants to get involved and be a part of the work that we're doing. And I said, hey, well, send me your resume. And actually now Carmen works on our staff, and she's actually helping more families do exactly what she did. So I want to give a round of applause to Carmen and have her conversation.
I want to thank the Arthur Blank Family Foundation for supporting Power My Learning. It's made such a difference for my family, and the need is here, the support is here, and it does reach. It reached my son, it reached him wanting to be a mechanical engineer. Now he's looking at colleges, things that we never thought that he would even consider with all the struggling that he was going through. And it reached me. All I want to do now is I'm happy working Power My Learning, empowering other parents to help their kids. So thank you very much.
Amazing. Next we have Miss Cindy Bowden. She's the Executive Director at Clarkston Community Center. As Executive Director, Ms. Bowden oversees the center's numerous community services, especially those in the areas of art, recreation, education, and community building. Ms. Bowden has a track record of success leading and managing staff and volunteers, securing grants and other types of financial support, developing programs, and growing the mission and outreach of community-focused organizations. Ms. Bowden is also extremely well connected in the arts, nonprofit, cultural and educational community, which will open the doors to new partnerships and programs for the Clarkston Community Center. Please help me welcome Ms. Cindy Bowden.
Hi, thank you for inviting me here tonight. You have a lovely group here, and we are enjoying ourselves very much. And thank you to the Blank Foundation for our grant. I have my 5-hour speech right here, but somebody in the back told me I only had 5 minutes. So. The Clarkston Community Center is a gathering place for art, education, recreation, and community building. We do it for longtime Georgians. We have newly arrived refugees, we have immigrants, and we have transplanted Americans. In fact, the Clarkston Community Center represents 57 countries. In 2015, we served over 40,000 people in 1 year. With the median income of $29,000, 56% of our people live in poverty, which means that 1 out of 2 children in Clarkston live in poverty. The racial demographics of Clarkston are 11% white, black, representing refugees and African Americans, 69.5%, Asian 13.8%, and others, I never knew what that meant, is 5.7%. So we strongly believe that teaching and helps everybody. This summer we offered several summer camps where we concentrated on STEAM. The Blank Foundation funded 8 new computers, Microsoft software, CAD software, a laser printer, and a 3D printer for the projects. We started out by sneaking geometry, science, and engineering into our art project. We studied, everybody did a landscape. We studied perspective. We studied why is this tree bigger than that building way back there? And how do these things get fuzzier as they go all the way back? They learned the distance between the viewer and the object makes it less sharp, and each student painted a beautiful masterpiece of a tree. Next, they had computer classes where they did software, where they played games that contained math and logic. But this was not what we were specialized in. First, we started out with simple concepts in geometry, making sure that everybody was on the same level. Then we took two-dimensional geometry and we turned it into three-dimensional geometry. Then we were able to start working with the computers and the CAD programs to design in 3 dimensions. The students voted on a project they'd like to do and ended up making and designing as a class. They ended up making a bicycle rack that had plug-ins for electric cars and electric bicycles and even your cell phone. The rack also held charging stations for a lot of things, and they designed a place where sponsors could put their name straight down in front of the bicycle rack. The students learned how to load the 3D computer with materials it needed and watch it print. That's the part I like best. And it was really cool bicycle rack, which I'm sure someday if we can find a funder, we'll sell like hotcakes. So the students were able to learn geometry, computer design, 2 and 3 dimensional, and 3D printing. Or to sum it up, in one student's word, it was a cool experience. The cool experience will result in an interest in STEAM subjects and a better knowledge of how you can take what you learned in school or even in camp and transfer it into your real life. I have up here with me Kim Alt and her daughter Deborah Alt and Damalia Alt. Damalia was one of our students and Deborah was one of our camp counselors.
Hello, my name is Damalia Alt. I am 11 years old and in the 6th grade. At camp we learned about technology and we did computer tech and we also gardened and stuff. We had an art class where we did landscape paintings and we based our tree painting on a tree that we have at the community center. We named it the Hugging Tree. Well, I loved going to camp every day because it was fun. It was a fun experience, and we also got to 3D print a lot. We made many cool things. We made a Buddha, and we made a house, and a bicycle, and some other stuff. Yeah. What really made it amazing was all the great counselors and staff that helped the camp. And I thank the Blank Foundation for funding it for us to all enjoy at the Clarkston Community Center.
Hello, my name is Deborah Alt. I was a camp counselor at the Clarkston Community Center camp over the summer, and I was really glad to be sort of like a mentor figure for the children, because while they were learning about 3D printing and about visual arts and gardening and other things, I was able to show them the connections, the real world connections that they could have through the program, because I saw that in while they were creating through the CAD system that they were using to create the software to print out their things that they made, I saw that like it was sort of like almost that what you put in is exactly what comes out, and so like they would create like shapes and things like that that they wanted to be printed, and then after that, like on the other side, we saw their little printed Buddha. And then also that the camp showed them that those things also in gardening class, because at the beginning of the 9 weeks we like planted seeds, and at the end of the 9 weeks they had like cucumbers and okra. So like I was really happy that like I could show them that in technology that you can get like your outcomes directly, and then in other things you can get it as well. And so I was really happy to like be sort of a mentor figure for all of the campers, and I was really glad that they had the opportunity to use like math and science and technology, like although they were from different cultures and different backgrounds, as a universal language it was able to like connect everyone together. So I was really happy.
It is 2016, so social media is huge. Instagram, Twitter. So we actually have a hashtag for tonight, hashtag #IamSTEAM. So whatever pictures you take, hashtag #IamSTEAM and push it everywhere. Our next speaker is Michael Robertson. He is Executive Director at TAG Education Collaborative. Mr. Robertson works with TAG member companies, businesses, community organizations, and schools across the state to promote STEM educational programs and opportunities. Prior to joining TAG Education, Mr. Robertson spent nearly 2 decades working at EMS Technologies, leading human resources, strategic growth, and corporate communications as the company expanded from 400 to over 2,000 employees. So please help me welcome Mr. Michael Robertson to the stage.
Why you gotta go talk about 2 decades? Come on now. Golly. You know, a year and a half ago, I work right across the street. A year and a half ago, I was upset because our Office Depot was closing. This was the Office Depot. And now, Tech Square Labs moves in. Keep moving it up. Tech Square Labs moves in, Rodney, 500 new employees, $250 million of investment. What a success story. Congratulations, and thank you for hosting us. And also Penny and Ayana and the whole Arthur Blank Family Foundation, thank you for including us. This is a really exciting opportunity for TAG Ed. We are the charitable side, if you will, of the Technology Association of Georgia, the largest state technology association in the country. And I get the question all the time, why is a technology association interested in education? Well, the reality is our member companies have over 4,000 jobs today that they can't fill because people don't have the technology skills. And most students look at technology skills as computer geeks, pocket squares, pocket protectors, not pocket squares, and lab coats. And the reality is that it's everything but. And so our focus is on giving students real-world hands-on experiences to do that. Our work with the Blank Foundation is to take a program that we have for rising high school seniors and incorporate for underserved students to help them understand what technology careers are by giving them real-world hands-on experiences. I think one of the values that the Blank Foundation brings and I'm sure this is one we'll talk about tomorrow, is around collective impact. And I just want to share with you all a little bit of a story of what has happened to us in the couple of months since we received our grant. Kwame, we also had a nice opportunity, although Ayanna did not come to my house. That's okay, it's a mess, we don't want to come. But a couple of things have happened for us and for our program around that really shows the collective impact of what you all bring to the table. First of all, we have been funded by TAG for a coding camp. Our longtime president is retiring, Tino Mantella, and so we've been funded to start the Tino Mantella coding camp. Focus on 30 students from underserved communities to have the opportunity to learn coding and all that ABC language that guy was talking about up here. I hope you all understood what all those different alphabet was. But it doesn't stop there. Many of you have met William Oliver here. William is with STEAM Sport. As we have been trying to figure out how are we going to go do a coding camp, we found another partner. And we're partnering with William and his organization to put on this summer's camp. We already have interest from another organization that wants to do it again. And I think that's the key for the kind of value that what the Blank Foundation is starting, we all need to go finish. So we also do interns, high school summer interns. Here's my dilemma. Over the 9 years we've been doing that, we have placed over 800 students. That's the good news, 150 last summer. That's a big job. The bad news is we had 1,500 students apply. That's the odds of getting into Georgia Tech. And folks, that's a shame. We have to give our students real world experiences to help them understand what is involved in a technology career, to get them excited about the technology careers. We have a couple of students here and they put all these lights in my eyes. So Erico Corbett, please raise your hand. Faith Lucas, please raise your hand. Faith and Erico spent 5 weeks this summer at Turner Broadcasting, and that experience has helped formulate what they want to do in the future. It's helping them decide what a career should look like, and we believe that's crucial. So if you have a company and you believe in the work that we're doing, we have a couple of Tag Ed people. You guys hold up your flyers. I didn't bring them up stage so that they could be out there so that you all can get copies of our information. And for those of you that are with nonprofits, we have a scholarship program that helps pay for these students. And I want to finish with my favorite student story. I'm sorry, it's not one of you two. We had a student that we put into the company Earthlink. Everybody knows Earthlink? Human Resources Department. Day one, she walks in. She's so excited. She's a high school student. And they say, okay, let's start with something simple. We want you to update our org chart. She was so excited. She said, man, that is fantastic. What's an org chart? 5-week internship. Wednesday before she finishes on Friday, the guy she's working for walks by and he sees her working, but we all know what a database looks like on a computer screen. She's supposed to be updating their database, and that's not what she's doing. And he gets a little frustrated, and he says, "What's up? You only got a couple of days. You got to get this done." And she looks up at him and she says, "I know you want me to go line by line through this database and find the variances. What I'm doing is I'm writing you a JavaScript. All you'll have to do is hit this one little button. You can do it anytime you want to. It'll highlight the variances. So all you got to do is go find the variances and correct those. You don't have to go line by line." Oh, so he walks in his office, shuts the door, goes over to his computer, and Googles, "What is JavaScript?" Thank you all again. Thank you for.
Tonight we have a few of our corporate sponsors here with us, and first up is SunTrust, who is actually a corporate sponsor of the Gifted Foundation. To represent SunTrust, we have Mr. Kelsey Reed, who is the Vice President for IT Delivery of SunTrust. Mr. Reed has a master's from Keller Graduate School and is certified as Project Manager Professional, Agile Certified Professional, and Scrum Master. The three things that one can say about him is that he has a true love for technology, people, and process. Please help me welcome Mr. Kelsey Reed.
I'd like to say thank you guys for inviting me out. It's really been an honor to be a part of this. On behalf of SunTrust, we're committing pro bono 100% to the I Am Gifted program and the STEAM project. So we're ready to take a stand and really be part of the STEAM project.
That was quick. I wasn't ready. Next up, we have Mr. Arjuna Challa, Senior Director of Operations at LexisNexis Risk Solutions. He's ready. With almost 20 years of experience in software design, Mr. Challa leads the development of next-generation big data capabilities, including creating tools around exploratory data analysis, data streaming, and business intelligence. Mr. Challa strives to understanding new technologies and bring innovative applications and designs to the HPCC system platform. Please help me welcome Mr. Challa.
Thank you. We're doing a tag team here, but before I start, where are the hackathon team? We need to hire them. Why did you invite us yesterday? We needed to be here yesterday so that we could see the innovation live and participate in that. But great, that is the type of talent we are looking at. Let me spend a few words talking about why it is important, right? For us, innovation is hard. LexisNexis, I do not know if people were clapping, but really, it's a very large company, right? Large companies find it very hard to innovate quickly. Yes, we do innovate, we spend a lot of money and resources on innovation, but it takes time because there is a bureaucracy, there's lawyers, hopefully there's no lawyers. Yeah, right? So lawyers and innovation, they don't go very well. So just a point, an example would be, all of you know driverless cars. Right? There's a hype around driverless cars. People are talking about it. When is it coming? I have my 14-year-old. I don't want him to drive in Atlanta, so I'm waiting for it now, right? So General Motors, large company, Google, large company, they've been working on driverless cars for how long now? 5 years maybe? Their projection of having a driverless car is at least 2023. That's when they think that they'll have driverless cars. Tesla, smaller company, much more agile. They came out this last month and said they'll have driverless cars in 2017, next year. Perfect timing for my son, right? Not only that, actually, they already do have driverless cars because people have seen Teslas passing them with a guy watching TV. He's supposed to be a driver, right? But he's watching TV and, well, Tesla very innovatively calls it adaptive steering, right? They're not calling it driverless cars so that the regulators don't come after them. But the point I'm trying to make is innovation is not going to wait. And I think somebody made a point of hiring tomorrow's talent today. The reason why we want to hire tomorrow's talent today is because of the innovation. We want to be able to innovate now and not wait for tomorrow. And we rely on our partnership with Tech Square Labs and the Arthur Blank Foundation to make that happen. So that is really the key things. And part of and quite a lot of the details Parag is going to talk to you about. But the key thing is we are in the process of supporting a wide variety of talent within the LexisNexis organization, whether they're graduates, undergraduates, or even school students, right? The key thing that we want is talent and dedication to get to the next level. If we see this, then we are committed to give them the opportunity, number one, and then take them to the next level from the perspective of providing them whatever training is required to get them to the next level. That's our commitment. And Parag can talk a little more details about the exact things that we're doing with Tech Square Labs and Arthur Blank Foundation. Thank you.
My name is Brock Holtz. I lead corporate innovation here at Tech Square Labs, and we're incredibly graciously thankful for Arthur Blank Foundation to give us an opportunity to work together on this project. I thought I would just share a little bit about the context of what we do with corporate innovation and why we're in the community doing it. When I came out of Coke, I had this sensation that I was doing the right thing but in the wrong place. That corporate innovation would be better done inside the tech community rather inside the four walls of a big corporation. So we look to partner with companies, understand their needs, make connections in the communities to create opportunities, and then bring them into the lab to fund them and find them and foster them and work on them. Our work with LexisNexis was very interesting. They came and they wanted to access talent in the community. They wanted to be a change agent with their software platform and to give kids the opportunity. And they wanted to begin to meet smart minds and new talent. So we formed a Center of Excellence, which I think is what Tech Square Labs is going to be known for, is partnering with companies and helping them bring their best assets and positioning them inside the tech community in order to create opportunities. In this particular grant, we're using the training materials that LexisNexis has developed online in order to give 30 scholarships to students who can then take data science training and add them to their existing skills. About a $300,000 economic investment in the community. We're also taking some of those students and giving them their first work opportunity to partner with one of our startup companies who will actually be doing the coding to develop the solution. And then we're using one of our startup companies, which will be one of their first customers, as a way of taking their platform and putting it into the hands of the kids much quicker to develop our mobile solution and everything. So there's lots of dots that get connected in this one project. Even with Anthony Flynn and his nonprofit agency, we couldn't have done it at Tech Squares without partnering with Anthony and putting all of the pieces together. So as we do these projects at Tech Square, I tell people that it's just not about being innovative, but it's really about feeling innovative, right? And this is a great way to feel like we're doing the right thing in the community, we're creating the right opportunities, we're bringing solutions together, we're using all of our resources smartly the best we can, and we just look to continue to partner with great companies, understand their needs, find ways to connect them inside our communities, and grow businesses like we say, build something from nothing. Thank you.
Before we close tonight, I would like to thank everybody for coming out, all of our pipeline projects for their hard work in the STEAM initiative. And next we will have Mr. Simpson for the closing remarks.
will you please join me in giving all of our grantees from the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation an amazing round of applause. Absolutely. And another hashtag, in addition to hashtag #IamSTEAM, please let's trend in Twitter. We've got a precedent for establishing Twitter trends. Last week it was Atlanta Startup Battle. We were #2 under the Hawks here, where we invested $100,000 in one of Atlanta's top startups. But I think we should also be trending around this project as well. So please make a point to trend on hashtag #IamSTEAM. So once again, I want to thank you for coming out this evening, but our experience is not over. Daniel, come here. Daniel runs our space on a day-to-day basis. Give it up to Daniel. Exactly. And Daniel is going to take a few seconds and talk to you about the actual STEAM experiences that we've created for this evening. So after we're done with this formal part of the program, you don't have to leave. You're going to be able to go back and experience some of the STEAM exhibits and installations. So the reality is, Daniel, is most people, the word STEAM does not resonate with them. But the reality is that STEAM basically transcends every construct of our being and our life and everything. So from the music we hear, to the speakers, and to the product design for this microphone, etc., to now augmented reality like Pokemon Go and virtual reality, we're able to experience that. So Daniel, talk a little bit about what you've created and your background and what we can expect next.
Sure. So I'm the Minister of Awesome here at Tech Square Labs. And I went to that school across the street and studied computational media, I was the second year that was that major, and it was computer science and art. So when I heard that STEM was becoming STEAM, naturally I got pretty giddy and I was like, okay, the time has come. Because basically I'm an artist who collaborates with other artists from different backgrounds, and I use code and technology to create experiences for people. So I've created a couple of experiences tonight. I've worked with a brilliant musician, 2 amazing artists, and one of the volunteers who showed up tonight gave a good helping hand. And straight back, we have a staring contest. I'll let you find out a little bit more when you get in there. And then off in the back to the right, we have a interactive musical piece where you can interact with a table that has been wired to a Makey Makey, which is a modified Arduino, and it goes and it triggers with musical instruments inside of DAW Ableton, and then you are helping to perform the music in the space and creating the environment that you are within. So that's just a little bit about what's back there. Feel free to check it out. Feel free to try to ask me questions about it, ask these guys questions about it, and all in all, enjoy yourself.
Translation, ABCDESTEAM. Hashtag #IamSTEAM at Tech Square at Blank Foundation. Peace. Have fun.